Hello, Dianne.
Hello, Natalie. Nice to see you.
It's good to see you too. What are you up to today?
We'll be in the garden in the sunshine. I think John has a list of things that we've got to do.
Oh, okay. And who is John, and who are you? And
John is my husband, and we've lived in Harrogate about 32 years. We have two boys. One is 44. No, he's 45. And the other is 43. One lives in York and one lives in London.
oh, brilliant. Oh, well, I just thought it would be a really good opportunity in this time of lockdown and time where we're apart to interview Dianne and to say for her to tell us a few things about herself, so we can get to know one another a little bit better in this time. So I've just got 3 questions, Dianne, to ask you. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah.
So the first one is, how did you come to find God and know Jesus?
How did I come to find God? Well, when I was a little girl, I shared a room in a very small house. We lived in a semi-detached bungalow with my brother, who was a little bit younger than me. And probably from the age of about 5 or 6, my mother used to say the Lord's Prayer with us every night. And she had put on the wall a crucifix. So every single night we said the Lord's Prayer together. Of course, I didn't know anything about the meaning of it or anything like that. I never went to Sunday school, but I went to Brownies and Guides, and there was always a prayer at the end of each meeting. And once a month, we went to the Methodist church in the little village of Menston, where I lived. And once a month, we went to the Anglican church, and there I heard about God. Then, when I was about 14 or 15, something like that, I was confirmed. And it was the Bishop of Bradford, who later became the Archbishop of Canterbury, actually, Dr. Coggan. I know, name dropping. And he preached on Isaiah 6. And he preached on, who shall I send? And who will be my messenger? And of course, you know, you want to please people. So in my heart, I said, send me, Lord, I will go. So I felt there was a connection with God. We'd had preparation for confirmation. And that was my beginning understanding of who God was. Now, if you ask me, where was my understanding of Jesus in my life? When I went off to college, I shared a room with a Christian girl, and she and the Christian Union obviously prayed for me. And it took them about 2 years. And at that time, I was in my 3rd year. I came to know Jesus as Lord and Saviour. You probably don't need to know the rest, but all I would like to say is that Jesus has kept me. We've had 7 or 8 moves in our lives, and obviously 2 children. And some churches I found very difficult, and some were really enlightening. And I would say I grew in depth when we moved to Ilkley, which was about 36, 37 years ago. And really, the meaning of loving God and loving Jesus meant something a little bit more. And coming here to Harrogate, St. Mark's, has been a real blessing.
That's amazing. It shows the power of prayer.
Yes.
And the power of, I guess, friends.
Yes.
Just constantly sticking by your friends.
Yes.
And praying for them and being really close to them.
I shared a flat in London with 3 other Christians. It's a remarkable story how I got there. But I saw love in action. There were 4 of us in the flat, but I dare say there was always 12 for Sunday lunch. And we always did, yes, and we did things together. We waited for the last person to come in before we ate together. And we went to the theatre together, to premieres, we went to the cinema, we went out into the country together. They came home to Yorkshire with me. It was community. And in my teens, I went sailing with a friend. And as we went to bed, she said, I want to tell you about this book that I've read. And it was by John Stott, Basic Christianity. And unfortunately, I fell asleep as she was telling me about it. I think it did her more good than it did me. But I have noticed that when I look back, God has put friends in my way all the way through my life. And you've only got to look at me to know that it's been a long life. So yes, I feel that God's looked after me and provided every step of the way, Natalie. I'm sure he'll do the same for you.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's brilliant. And for those of you that don't know, Dianne is my mentor at church. So she's also a great friend and a great counsellor to me too. So question 2, how are you finding joy at the moment?
I think we're very blessed at the moment, Natalie, that since lockdown, we've had the most magnificent weather. And you know me, I love being outside. So John and I go for a walk every morning, usually about 6:15, 6:30, and we go for an hour walk. And we don't meet very many people, but people do say good morning these days. So the blessing has been the beautiful weather. The blessing has been the garden. And I know that some people are not fortunate enough to have a garden. And I really deeply feel sorry for people who live in high-rise flats with no terrace and no balcony, and with children. So my joys have been the garden. We've had the most magnificent display of hyacinths. My mother died 15 years ago, and we still have a clump of pink hyacinths, a big clump, that have come up every year since then. And so not only the pink hyacinths, but some yellow fringed tulips. And because it's been still, they've all survived. And the birds in the garden. And also, and I have to say, it's been a time when I've been able to spend more time in prayer. Because I've had time. I haven't been rushing around, going here, there, and everywhere. It's been a real blessing. I've been able to find time and space. And this week at Spring Harvest has been truly, truly special.
That's brilliant.
Really lovely.
That's great. I'm so glad that you're able to tune in and listen.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Finally, question 3. What will be the first thing that you do when lockdown is over?
I would love to rush over to York and give our son and daughter-in-law a big hug. I'd love to rush down to London and give our son in London a big hug and to see him. Or they come to us, I don't mind. I know I should say that I want to come back to church and I miss my friends and family there. I do. But I think the first thing is I'd like to, it sounds funny, but I'd like to touch, I'd like to hug, I'd like to kiss.
Yeah, there's something about physical touch, isn't there?
Yes, there is. We can see each other on video calls like this, but and that's good. Technology is brilliant. I mean, it is a wonderful thing to give thanks for. But, you know, it's just this human touch. I'd love to come around and give you a big hug.
Oh, you're very welcome when this is all over.
Nestle into your lovely blonde hair. I mean, it's just this physical thing that I think people who live on their own must find it extremely difficult.
Yeah, they're definitely people to pray for.
Yes.
And hold in prayer.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Dianne.
Can I ask you what you would do? What would you do?
What will I do? So there's a good few coffee shops in Harrogate that have probably, I've definitely missed them, and
Yes.
I'm looking forward to going and just, drinking coffee and seeing friends and just being together again. So I'm looking forward to that.
I've actually got a cup of coffee here. So
there you go.
Cheers.
I'll come round as well for a cup of coffee to yours.
You come round to me. Yes, that would be great. I'll make you a homemade flapjack or something.
Thank you. Well, Dianne, thank you so much for joining our little 5-minute interview. And I'll leave you to get on with the rest of your day and enjoy Spring Harvest.
Thank you very much, Natalie. God bless.
God bless. Bye.
Bye. Bye.